My history, well, I'm David Labuskes. I'm the CEO of AVIXA, the Audio Visual Integrated Experience Association. I have a long journey of which much I won't actually, no, not kidding. I honestly, I spent early part of my career trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was a bill collector. I was a dish boy. I sold life insurance door to door. But ultimately, I bumped into technology. I had a computer that was given to me as a Christmas present, and I was working at a firm where the owner was doing a leveraged buyout, and he needed somebody to run his computer systems, and he knew I knew what Lotus 123 was, and I became his vice president of IT. I did that for a number of years, got involved actually in doing code and development. Before this thing called the internet, put together a software package that allowed people to pay for things by check over the phone. That had huge application in the bill collection business, because if you paid by the check over the phone, you didn't need to put a check in the mail. And ultimately rode that into a private software consulting project management job, which turned into doing some work in technology and built environment, and working within construction and implementing technology infrastructure. I fell in love with that. I fell in love with looking at a green field and seeing it turn into a building, and seeing people working in the building, making phone calls using their computers. That led me to an architectural firm. And being part of the architectural firm, I started getting involved in AV design and built a design studio there, which introduced me to InfoComm. Randy Lemke, my predecessor, was retiring. I was doing a ton of work in volunteer programs in other industry groups. It was like, so there's a job out there where I could be a geek for technology, I could work with volunteers, and be in a competitive business all at the same time. Sign me up. It took about 9 months and 400 interviews, and somebody made the bad decision to offer the job to me. So I've been in the role for almost 10 years and have loved 7 of them. The last couple of years haven't been all that fun for many of us. It's been a challenging environment. But it's great to be here. It's great to be in Vegas talking to you. Not have any type of computer screen between you and I. I love computer screens. I love displays. But I really love people a lot more. I am sure that the people that are involved in heavy machinery construction think that's really cool, and I think that people that are involved in home appliance development, I probably find it really cool. I really love this, and I love technology. I've loved technology since I got exposed to it. But actually, I'm not really all that good at it. What I've always been good at is connecting people to technology. I've always been good at talking to the non-technical person and being a bridge to the technical person. And in some ways, that's what AV is in summation, is using technology to connect people to people. And the common thread that runs through all of that is people. And I think that's part of the magic sauce of the AV profession. Is it's not just technology, it's the relationships, it's the people, it's understanding how you got to get the technology right? Like if you're trying to use a camera light and the camera won't light up, if you're trying to send a file or transfer an image and it won't go across the network, you got a bad experience. But once you get those table stakes, look how I use table stakes in Vegas, once you get those table stakes done, then AV is about the human experience, it's about emotion. And so that's the other part that attracts the type of people that are in this industry. I can't imagine anybody that was here this week wondering whether or not these shows are relevant or not. Now, I do think there's a maturation to how we engage, and let's not throw everything away that we learned over the last couple of years to survive as a society in virtual communications. Let's take from it what was good. So I have this sort of phrase that, after a party, there's leftovers and hangovers. Like, you like the leftovers. So the hangovers you could live without, right? So there are leftovers of COVID that we should figure out how to repurpose and use and incorporate into our outreach to providers and buyers, users. Virtual delivery of communications is great, of information. It's harder to deliver wisdom online, and wisdom is just as important as knowledge. Wisdom is the conversation in the hallway with the other students, or the beer in the evening with the instructors, like, oh man, let me tell you my story, and the lessons that are pulled from that. And that is very difficult, as we've learned. That is very difficult to recreate in a virtual environment. But that doesn't mean we should throw away the powerful delivery of information that's being done with hundreds of millions of videos a day. I can't imagine being an AV professional and not gathering in face-to-face environments and seeing and touching and feeling the technology itself and communicating with the other people. Who in AV provides a complete end-to-end solution as either one manufacturer or one professional? Even if it is a manufacturer that has a complete solution set, the manufacturer is working with a distributor who is working with an integrator or a consultant that is providing it to a technology manager. And all of these interactions have to take place, and they have to take place efficiently and effectively, honestly and transparently, and oftentimes serendipitously in regards to who's doing what piece of it. Again, oftentimes people think of that as sort of the immaturity of our industry or the inefficiency of our industry. I actually think it's a defining strength of our industry, and I think it's reinforced by these events. Again, we should, another phrase I've heard this week is, we're back. I actually don't actually love that, because it's got this sort of, we're back, like, okay, now we're back to normal, we're back to what we had before. That scares me, because that means this nightmarish 30 months that we've just gone through, we want to forget and move on from. And that's wasting the crisis. Let us not forget what we learned. Let us not forget what we valued. And let's take that with these types of events and move forward to something that none of us have imagined yet.